40 horse running again. Old points. Little points set too long, got a little rust on them, and you know, had to file them. I had to put a belt on it. It was wiped out. Come on, Darren, get your shit together there, boy. I'll let that warm up, set the timing. Since I readjusted the points, I probably messed with the point flow. Get all my bits put back on there. There we go. That was one project down. Screwdriver and a few pieces there. Here's the old camera stand. Let's try this thing. Woo! That's much better than being right in my ugly ass face. So I've been working on the boat here. I bought a few money items. I had to get the wheels and tires. 79 bucks for the tire and wheel combo. I bought a tune-up kit, so we got that knocked out, and that gives us our rotor, our condenser, and set of points. A little bottle of compound in there to recompound some stuff, and stuff like that. That's what's going on around here today. Not a whole lot. It's one of those days. Just trying to fake it through the day. Fake it through the day. So I had some questions on the race car, my race car, and just so happens I've been sort of dicking with this a little bit lately. I got it jacked up here looking at a few things, and I'm thinking about ordering a new chassis and reskinning the car, you know, putting the new skin on it or whatever, putting the new chassis and skin, and use most of my drivetrain stuff. This car is sort of a stock Beetle, still retains all the rear torsion, tunnel, blowers, all that good stuff. Somebody wanted to see a look at the clutch management system on this. Let me get the light here. I did not make this. I bought this from Ollie Fry's dad, or Ollie Fry. You know, he had it for sale at a race back in the probably late 90s, and that's a CO2 ram that's connected to the clutch. It's a little hokey on the floor, I'll give you that, but you get used to it and you don't even know it's there. And I'm getting about 3750 passes off my trannies now, where I used to get 8. So I don't care how hokey it looks, it works. You can see this valve right here, right there. You adjust that needle valve there and it'll adjust the speed of the pedal that it returns from the floor all the way out. Of course, it releases like there's nothing there. The tighter you make it, the more it works like it's got an anti-shocker on it. Volkswagen racers know what those are. Anti-shockers seem to be affected by the heat of the motor though, and the viscosity of the oil changes in the shock. And you get no change with this. It's the air coming out of that little valve there is what controls the speed of the ram. The CO2 bottle is to lock the pedal to the floor and can make it work in conjunction with the delay box there. One is a nitrous timer, one is a delay box. We don't have nitrous anymore. And I never used it. I plumbed it all on here with a timer and a progressive setup, but I never used it. And I've never used the delay box either. It's basically for when other people drive the car and want to leave off the top bulb. But that's pretty much it on this, you know. Some people were asking about, you know, the car's pretty crude for as fast as it is, and the car's got some good pieces on the bottom of it. Let me take you off the camera stand here for a second. It's got a good 1972 case with a full gusset welded on it. It's got the circle bearing rather than the 4-bolt bearing. I bend those plates every time I use even the chrome moly ones, so this works out good for me. Got the Berg mount welded in the front there. Have a mount going up from the girdle to the roll cage there that you can adjust the preload on the rear horns. Got a set of Ronnie Loomis shocks on there, old school. This is a cable here that a lot of people don't have on their car that they should incorporate. And what this does is it keeps the tire flat. When the tire comes off the ground or the car gets out of shape, you see how the camber is static on this, not negative. Normally when a Volkswagen comes up off the ground, the wheels want to tuck underneath it with the swing axle. It lets the axle drop down. And that's what causes the big handful at the top end. If you go to a sail company or a sling company, you can have these straps made from the top shock bolt to the bottom, and that will limit the travel that the axle can fall, and it'll keep the car properly aligned when you let off the gas at the big end so you can drive the car. These only come into effect when the car is off the ground like this. When the car is static sitting on the ground, the cable will have tension, or it won't have tension on it. And it's in the emergency situation now when it's pulled tight like that. That's the keep the camber correct when the car is out of shape. We got a no-berg over there. Talked about those. It's got a screen, traps down to like 3 microns. This particular one has a provision for a switch where you can put on there when the bypass starts, the switch will come on, which you need to address your filter. Those are really widely used in a lot of racing motors. If you get to the top fuel cars, a lot of those guys run the System 1 because it has more resistance to the bypass from the super high oil pressure. We run about, typically in all the other cars, this car here has this traditional pump in it with a Berg full flow cover with a ball in it, and this is the same cover you guys saw Gene working on back in Darlington in that slideshow back in the 80s. But anyway, now we move the oil system to the outside of the motor and take all the relief valves out of the case, and we do the oil pressure with poppets. And normally we keep it right out about 100 psi now. That's pretty much it. Turbonetics, turbo 60-1 hi-fi, 750 double pumper there. I do have some nicer parts for this thing. I just haven't, put them on the car because it's already pretty fast like it is. It runs real consistent low 6s in the 8th, and it's been 585. It's been 989 in the quarter, and that's with the no spring change on the wastegate yet. I just haven't had the money to put spring to it like we did on Noel's car, where it'll have 30 pounds of boost. Right now I'm only running 15. I'm running on the wastegate. Also, I run my pistons 300 in the hole. That means the piston at top dead center has 300 to 350 thousandths deck height, and you can get away with that on a turbo car, and it makes it real soft on parts, is what I've found. This tranny has about 37 passes on it now. It's super dirty. Everything's dusty as shit. It needs to come out of here. This car did used to have disc brakes. If you look at some of those, I don't know if I have a picture of the car when it was burgundy, but it had Willwood disc brakes on the back and Carmagia brakes on the front with well wheels. And a lot of that stuff was Christmas and birthday presents that I'd accumulated over the years working for Scooter. And we had some people come into the shop. It just used to be me, Scooter, and Big Daddy for the longest time. And the more people that started to come down to the shop and race out of the shop, basically when you open the shop to other people. We had one friend of mine, we were roommates. I had him come down and help me. This car used to actually have Noel's motor in it. The motor that's in Noel's car now used to have the injected Hilburn set up in here. And when I was young, I'd get aggravated with shit and didn't want to mess with stuff, and my hands were sort of tied for what I could do when I worked for Scooter. He was the master and I was the student. So even though if I had a concept on how to fix a problem, it didn't mean that that was going to get, you know, addressed that way. And that's why I like racing with Noel. I can make a recommendation and we sort of follow it. And it's let us go a lot faster with Noel's car than he ever went down there with Scooter tuning it. But I raced this car with Scooter and Kenny for a while. I was working a couple different jobs. I wasn't working for Scooter anymore, but the car was still down there. Scooter and Kenny took it out one night and broke one of the cylinders, and we didn't have anything to pull the car with, and it just got hot and broke the top of the cylinder. It was the 1776 motor with a T04 setup, and I think we go 11 flat at 150 every time. But anyway, I remember saving up the money like it was yesterday. This car's brought me some of the most fun that I've ever had in my life, and probably, you know, some of the hardest times I've ever had. But anyway, I went down to the shop, and actually we had raced the car a couple times, and Kenny had asked me if I wanted to build the car and race with him, or if he could invest in the car, and I told him I sort of raced with Scooter, and I like doing that, and I've been racing with Scooter for 15 years and had no reason to make any racing partner changes. But I don't know, I guess Kenny made the same offer to Scooter and he didn't feel the same way. And I remember going down on a Saturday. I worked at a Texaco around the corner from there, and told him that I would get paid on Monday and I'd buy the cylinders to fix the car. And this is when it had that stock motor, and I told you it was aggravating them because I'd have to freshen it every time we race it. But I came in and the car was stripped. It was sitting on jack stands, and every Christmas present, every birthday present that I'd ever received over the 15-year period was taken back off the car. The Wellwood brakes, the tranny case that I bought. Scooter built the tranny though, but I was partners with Greg Wallace at the time, and he donated the tranny, and I paid to have the gussets and stuff welded on it. That all disappeared. The Carmen Ghia front brakes, the well wheels, everything. The car was just a shell. And about the same time that happened, we lost our first kid, and it was, needless to say, a devastating time in my life. I felt really betrayed by my best friend, and I've never asked him why he did it. But we put the car back together with help from people in the community, and it was faster than it ever was, and it's never gone slower than it was before it was stripped, and it's always been faster. And it's, I think, part of its karma, you know, to tell you the truth. But that's why the car has drum brakes, and why it's, you know, sort of a budget ride. It had a lot of good pieces on it that were stripped off of it, and I sort of put it back this way just as a point that, you know, I really don't need that shit to compete with those guys. I can do it with Volkswagen shit, and I can get my car stopped from 150 with Volkswagen brakes, no problem. It's a little scary, but if you can drive, you can do it. And lately I've been thinking about buying a new chassis for this, and, you know, put some of my stuff in there and try to build a little nicer ride, upgrade the car to say. So, you know, it'll require some new stuff. I'm not really racing the car, so it's a good time to do it. I'm going to start the project when I get the Nova finished and the Ventura out here together. And then we'll deconstruct that, take it apart, and buy a Ron Loomis chassis, and then cut that body off and hang it on the new chassis, and then we can TIG weld all our brackets and on our stuff ourselves. So we'll just buy the chassis and try to make it a roller, and then work on it a little at a time. Noel will help me with the aluminum interior. He's got all the brakes and the bead rollers and all that shit at his house. And I have a lot of the drivetrain components. I'll have to, you know, the stuff that makes the car more late model, the wheels, the brakes, and stuff like that. But I think it'll be cool to build a new car, and maybe it'll have some YouTube influence, and be super badass. It'll be cool to race it, and people will recognize it and feel like they're a part of it, I think, if we build it on the channel together. But that's what's happening here. I got the Pontiac parts. Somebody was not happy that I wasn't painting this stuff blue, but it's just too much black to cover up. some of that stuff cleaned up there. These are the ARP head bolts. Whoever put this together didn't put any sealer on these bolts. And anytime you put a head bolt into a water jacket or a head stud hole or a head bolt hole that goes into a water jacket, you need to put sealer on it or it will leak. So we'll do that this time, incorporate some sealer. And I don't know if they had an issue with that or not last time. I didn't really see any signs of it in the combustion chamber on the head. So on the, this is the other head. I got it apart the other day, and the old gasket is glued to it pretty good, so I'll be able to use that as a guide. I basically used the gasket and matched it to that on the other head. You know, I'm not getting really excessive with these. Somebody wanted to know what to do about this, where the push rod goes through. And if you go look at Head Bite's channel, he's got a couple of videos on installing tubes in a small block. And a small block has the same arrangement. You have to put a tube in here, and then you can cut that back about 1/4 inch, and the tube will be exposed. You epoxy the tube in that hole, and then you cut to the tube. And that'll give you the ability to straighten that port out. The other question was, I addressed this the other day, was filling this with epoxy. And that's how we used to do it. I've talked to a few guys lately here, last few days, about some head stuff, and they recommended, instead of using the epoxy, to dam the seat area up in the bowl and pour molten aluminum in here. And it's much more of a permanent fix, and it gives you the ability to equalize the exhaust ports when you can eliminate this crossover. And we used to use the Moroso epoxy, and sometimes it would get compromised and you know, come loose. And I guess somebody watched that video and contacted me and told me that you can pour aluminum. You can melt aluminum at your house and pour it in this passageway, and it's a much better fix. And you know, the aluminum would be easy to shape in the bowl area too. So that was a good tip. So that's what's happening here. It's a beautiful day. Beautiful day, other than not feeling too good, but you know, what are you gonna do? I'm gonna try to go to the show tomorrow. It's over in Port Orange. I'll take you guys with me. It's called the No-Do Show. It's a pretty cool show. Maybe we'll drive this over there and check that out. Seems to be running pretty good now. I need to throw a timing light on there, and we can call it a day. I changed the belts out. Belt was super loose, and next I need to get back on this now that the sun's going down a little bit, and work on the boat. Bought a few tires there, and just some I bought the tag too. That was 90 bucks for 7 months, so that's pretty good. Got a new number and a tag for the trailer. So let me go ahead and shut this off, because I'm saying so too many times. You guys have a good one, and we'll talk to you later.